So if you're against animal cruelty, you need to go vegan. Otherwise, you are funding animal abuse. For every single non-vegan product you consume, you are having animals abused and killed. Even for eggs, even for dairy, you are having animals abused and killed. And I really believe that the reason why most people are not vegan is because most people have no clue of all of the awful things that are happening to animals to produce animal products. And I really don't think most people realize how environmentally destructive animal agriculture is. And certainly people don't even know that consuming animal products, meat, dairy, eggs, even seafood, very unhealthy. These products are literally loaded with artery clogging fats and cholesterol that clog up your arteries, impeding blood flow to your vital organs, like your heart, which can lead to a heart attack, like your brain, which can lead to a stroke. And it's not vegans causing pandemics. COVID was not caused by a vegan. It was caused by someone eating an animal. And even if you think COVID was started in a lab, what about bird flu, which comes from the poultry industry, which is, how they think the Spanish flu started in a poultry farm in Kansas. What about swine flu that comes from the pork industry? Yeah, every aspect of this industry is awful. What they're doing to these animals is awful. What they're doing to the planet in the process of producing animal products is horrendous. And for what? Just to sell you products that literally increase your risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, cerebrovascular disease. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from the American Heart Association, the National Kidney Foundation, and the American Institute for Cancer Research. But it tastes good. Well, the reason why that slaughtered gore tastes so good is because of all the herbs and spices it's seasoned with. Herbs and spices are vegan, in case you don't know, like KFC. KFC's secret recipe consists of 11 herbs and spices. Herbs and spices are vegan. So that delicious KFC flavor is not coming from that rotting chicken carcass, from that bird that literally spent 6 weeks marinating in a shit-filled dungeon. It's coming from the herbs and spices. Herbs and spices are vegan. My food tastes just as good as your food because my food is seasoned just the same. Yeah, so if you're against animal cruelty, you absolutely have to go vegan. Because if you're not vegan, you are literally funding some of the most atrocious acts of animal cruelty taking place. Even for dairy products, even for eggs. At the hatcheries where all egg-laying hens come from, they cannot determine the sex of the chicks until they hatch. So upon hatching, they sort the males and they put them through a macerator like they are doing in this image at the top left of the screen. That is a male chick that just hatched. And he is literally being dumped into a macerator, which grinds him up alive. Because the male chicks are useless to the egg industry. And this breed of bird is not the same breed used for meat. This breed of bird does not grow quick enough or big enough to be profitable for meat. So they are disposed of as soon as they hatch. And this is typically the way they are disposed of. Macerated. Ground up alive. At some facilities, they might just, gas them or dump them into the trash where they suffocate or starve to death. And in case you don't know, the egg-laying hens themselves are sent to slaughter when they can no longer produce enough eggs to be profitable. In nature, a hen would only lay about 1 to 2 dozen eggs per year. That's something else a lot of people are not aware of. Yeah, that a hen would only lay 1 to 2 dozen eggs per year in nature. But in the egg industry, those hens are manipulated to produce 200 to 300 eggs per year. So yes, that puts a lot of stress on their bodies. So by the time they're about a year and a half, their bodies can no longer keep up with that amount of egg production. So then they become useless to the egg industry. So they are sent off to be slaughtered and turned into pet food or turned into chicken soup. Those birds can actually live over 7 years, but they're slaughtered at about a year and a half of age. And something else most people don't know is that dairy cows actually produce milk because they are mothers, not because they are dairy cows. I don't see how any sane person can continue to consume dairy products knowing the truth, knowing that those dairy cows are actually producing milk to feed their babies, but their babies are stolen from them within hours of being born. This is typical practice on most dairy farms, that they take the newborn calves off those dairy cows within hours of them being born, so that mother and her baby do not bond, because they're selling these calves off to be slaughtered. All of the male calves born to those dairy cows are sold off to the veal industry or the beef industry and killed. And even some of the female calves are sold off to the beef industry. I mean, think about it. You know, a dairy cow has to be pregnant in order for her to start lactating. She is forcibly impregnated to get her to start lactating. And roughly once every year thereafter, she is forcibly re-impregnated to keep her lactating. So yeah, just a few weeks ago, there was that dairy farm that caught fire, and 18,000 dairy cows died on just one dairy farm. 18,000. So yeah, imagine how many calves were born each year on that dairy farm. We're talking at least 18,000 calves a year. What do you think they do with all those calves? Do you think that the dairy farms are doubling in size every year? No, they're doing something with those calves. Do you think that the dairy farms are doubling in size like every other year? You know, if they're just taking about half, which would be the males, killing them, but keeping the other half, the females, to raise as future dairy cows. Yeah, see, the dairy farms aren't even doubling in size every other year. Yeah, so something's happening to most of those calves, even the females. And most people don't realize this, that most of the calves born to those dairy cows, all of the males and even some of the females, are sold off to be slaughtered so you can have their stolen baby food. And a lot of people will not consume veal because they know that veal comes from a baby animal. But what most people don't realize is that even beef cattle are slaughtered very, very young. The beef cattle are slaughtered at just a few months older than the veal calves. They can actually live over 20 years. But even beef cattle, they're slaughtered between 12 to 22 months old, when they can actually live over 20 years. They're just 1 year old when they're slaughtered. Literally have their heads hacked off. How is that not cruel to hack somebody's head off just because you get hungry and you refuse to eat something plant-based, which is actually much better for your own health and much better for the health of the planet. And actually, you know, tastes just as good, if not better, than the rotting animal carcasses you eat. You know, the reason why that's slaughtered gore, you know, let's call it what it is. You know, that's what Plutarch called it. And I think that's the perfect term. the perfect term to use for meat. Slaughtered gore. Yep, that's slaughtered gore that you're dousing with all kinds of herbs and spices just to make it edible. Because I guarantee if you didn't season it, you probably would not want to eat it. Yeah, see, I bury dead animals. I don't put them in my mouth. I used to, unfortunately. Growing up, when I was a kid, I used to put dead animals in my mouth because I was not taught better. I didn't know better. But now that I know better, yeah, I keep dead animals out of my mouth. And what most people don't think about, like even if you really don't care that animals are being abused and killed, and baby animals to boot, like even pigs are just 6 months old when they're slaughtered. They can live over 10 years, but they're slaughtered as babies at just 6 months old. But even if you don't care about the abuse that these animals go through, the neglect, the fact that they go in those slaughterhouses alive and literally come out chopped up into pieces. Like, even if that doesn't bother you at all. I mean, look at the filth these animals live in. Like, this is your food. Your food that you're putting in your mouth. And it literally marinates in excrement. I mean, this is standard conditions in the pork industry. Yeah, see these slats here? In these huge industrial sheds that house these animals by the thousands, there are hoses all around. So I don't know if it's like once a day or twice a day or once every other day. I don't know. But periodically, workers go in there and they will hose all the shit and piss down into these slats. And then it gets drained out into a huge lagoon. And then those lagoons get emptied every so often. And how they empty them? They just have a big, sprayer that literally sprays the shit into the air. Really disgusting. Yeah, so these animals are shitting and pissing all day long. So in between, the cleanings, this is how these pigs are living. I can show you undercover footage of all kinds of farms. I mean, even here, just look at some of the TikToks that these dairy farmers post, and you'll see like the barns where these dairy cows are kept, filthy as all hell. I mean, literally shit, wall to wall shit on the not just the ground, but the walls in the doors. I mean, even the Iowa dairy farmer has done TikTok videos of his dairy cows in the barns, and it's just like so filthy. And then the cows got like shit all over their udders. Like, how do those cows get shit on their udders? Their udders are underneath them and their buttholes behind them. How do they end up with shit like all over their udders? Because they're slipping and they're falling on that slick, excrement covered ground. And it's just pure filth, And this is your food, and this is where it comes from. Yeah, you're the one who doesn't have much knowledge about what's happening in this disgusting industry. Otherwise, you'd be vegan. So yeah, I don't know why you're here defending this disgusting industry, but I would probably guess you're probably a flesh farmer yourself. But guess what? You can contact the Rancher Advocacy Program. And the Rancher Advocacy Program can help you transition into plant-based food production, and can help you transition your farm or ranch into an animal sanctuary. so you can get out of this business. Because people are waking up. People are waking up, and more people are going vegan every day. And the animal agriculture industry is trying so desperately to keep people believing that, that this is necessary and that veganism is unhealthy and all this other crap, which, it's very easily debunked. Even the farmers themselves debunk all of this crap. Like, for instance, this right here is a screenshot of a video posted by a dairy farmer. This dairy farmer literally posted a video of himself, harvesting corn to feed his 150 dairy cows. And out of his own mouth, he said that each of those dairy cows consume about 120,000 calories per day. And that each of those dairy cows produce about 80 pounds of milk per day. So if the average human consumes, let's say, 2,000 calories per day, on the amount of crops that this farmer is feeding his dairy cows, you can either, give that food directly to people and be able to feed 60 people for an entire day, or continue to feed these crops to the dairy cows and be able to give 60 people each a 12-ounce glass of milk per day, which sounds like a better use of resources. Feed the food directly to the humans and feed 60 humans for an entire day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or feed 60 people one 12-ounce glass of cow's milk a day, and that's it, and nothing else, just one 12-ounce glass of cow's milk. Yeah, the animal agriculture industry is very resource intensive. It takes a lot of land to graze and grow the food necessary to feed these animals. These animals produce a lot of excrement. Here in the United States, every single minute, livestock produce roughly 7 million pounds of manure, which is like 130 times more excrement than the entire U.S. population of humans produce each minute here in the United States. Most of that excrement ends up in the rivers, which lead to the oceans, which lead to ocean dead zones. Yeah, well, whatever. You can try so hard to make sense of this, but animal agriculture makes no sense. It's horrible use of resources. What they're doing to animals would actually be crimes of rape, kidnapping, theft, and murder if those same acts were being committed against humans. And let me show you. Consumers need to know the whole truth about this disgusting industry, so that people can understand why it's imperative that they go vegan. It's imperative that you go vegan for the planet, to save the planet. It's imperative that you go vegan for your own health. A plant-based diet can literally significantly reduce your risk of heart disease and cancer, two of the leading causes of death, can help prevent future pandemics. But yeah, the horrible things happening to these animals to produce animal products would actually be crimes of rape, kidnapping, theft, and murder if those same acts were being committed against humans. The very first step in producing animal products: collecting semen for the so-called artificial insemination process of the female animals. That is standard practice throughout the entire animal agriculture industry. It's the most cost-effective and efficient way of getting those animals to reproduce. But this is completely unnecessary. We don't need to be force breeding animals, Yeah, because we have no need. We have no nutritional requirement whatsoever for animal flesh or animal secretions. So why on earth would humans literally be sexually abusing animals? Like just to steal and kill their babies so they can feast on their flesh and give themselves heart disease and cancer and put the world at risk of a swine flu outbreak. It's crazy. And yes, this is a human, that is an animal. This human is sexually stimulating this animal and forcing that animal to ejaculate. That is absolutely sexual relations between a human and an animal, which is the very definition of bestiality. Yes, bestiality does not have to be sexual intercourse. Bestiality just means sexual relations between a human and an animal. That is a human sexually stimulating an animal. That is bestiality. So if you're Christian, just look at what your Bible says about bestiality and what the punishment should be. It is a major sin. So yeah, if you're Christian, you absolutely need to go vegan, and you need to go vegan right now. But even if you're not Christian, I mean, no sane, decent, rational, civilized person would want to fund bestiality. But you are for every single non-vegan product you consume. Yes, not just for pork. They're even doing this to roosters. This right here is a screenshot of an instructional video, just like the last screenshot was of an instructional video put out by the pork industry. This is an instructional video put out by the poultry industry demonstrating how they collect semen from a rooster. This is a rooster. That is a human sexually stimulating a rooster to ejaculate, to collect his semen so they can force the semen into hens to fertilize their eggs so that those eggs either hatch into the broiler chickens that people eat, or so that those eggs hatch into the egg-laying hens that lay the eggs on store shelves. So even for eggs, you're literally paying people to sexually abuse animals. You are literally funding bestiality. So you need to go vegan. You need to go vegan right now. And look at this. As if that wasn't bad enough. Yeah, they're even doing this to bees in the honey industry. This is a male bee, a drone. And there are a lot more instructional videos. If you Google artificial insemination of bees, there are even a lot more instructional videos demonstrating how to collect semen from drones and how to artificially inseminate queen bees. They literally press on the abdomen of the drones, and that forces them to orgasm. And then the drone dies. Then they restrain a queen bee, literally have like a little tube that they put her in, use CO2 to knock her out, have these little tools that open her up, and they shove the semen of 20 male bees into her to force her to reproduce. And yeah, if you were to force semen into a woman without her consent, I seriously doubt you would be calling that artificial insemination. That would be a crime. And it should be a crime just the same when you're doing this to a non-human animal. Yes, even insects. Yeah, should be a crime. But the reason why it's not a crime is because if it was a crime, the whole entire animal agriculture industry would implode. Yeah, so as crazy as it sounds, this is true. This is true, and this is standard practice, and people need to know the truth. Since most people are not vegan, most people are literally supporting this behavior. And maybe that's not your intention. Yeah, you just want to be able to eat some dino nuggies. You just want some dino nuggies. That's all you want. But this is what it takes to get those dino nuggies. They're literally sexually abusing animals, literally engaging in bestiality to produce all of those animal products that are on store shelves, all of those animal products that are on those restaurant menus. So it's time to wake up, wise up, and go vegan, and stop making excuses to not be vegan. There is no legitimate argument against veganism unless you are pro-animal molestation, unless you are pro-animal abuse, unless you are for the destruction of the planet, for dying prematurely of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease. Literally makes no sense to not be vegan. And again, you're not just having animals heads chopped off for your food preferences. You're also having animals sexually abused, and I've just proved that to you. And I know it sounds crazy, but it is crazy what they're doing to these animals, and it needs to stop. And the only way to stop it is to make people aware that it's happening in the first place. Because I don't think most people know that that's what they're doing to animals to force them to reproduce. Yeah, and I don't understand why there's so many people flooding my comment section with anti-vegan comments, because all you're doing is defending animal molesters. Yeah, let's call them what they are, because, if a teacher or a doctor or anybody else, sexually abused a child, you would no longer be referring to them as a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer or whatever. You'd be referring to them as a child molester. So let's refer to these livestock farmers and these dog breeders and cat breeders as animal molesters, because that's what they do. They molest animals to force them to reproduce so that you can eat their babies. True story, and I just proved it for those of you who were just watching a couple minutes ago. Yeah, well, you can contact the Rancher Advocacy Program. Contact the Rancher Advocacy Program, and they can help you transition into plant-based food production. They could also help you transition your ranch or your farm into an animal sanctuary. Yes, Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. Used to be a cattle ranch, the Sonnen Cattle Ranch in Texas. Both the husband and the wife went vegan, and they turned their cattle ranch into an animal sanctuary, and now they are helping other people do the same. So yeah, contact the Rancher Advocacy Program. And yeah, more and more people are going vegan. And, if you are paying attention when you go grocery shopping, you're going to notice that more and more vegan products are taking over store shelves. Yeah, save the plants, go vegan. That's an argument for veganism, not against it. A hell of a lot more plants are being killed to feed livestock so that you can eat their flesh and secretions. And animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation. So think about what that means for plants. As an acre of land is slashed and burned per second, and it's mainly to graze and grow food for livestock. Like most of those fires in the Amazon are intentionally set by cattle ranchers because it's a quick and easy way to clear the land to graze cattle. So yeah, if you truly care about plants, you need to go vegan. And not only should you go vegan, you should become a fruitarian, because no plants are harmed for fruits, nuts, or seeds. And lentils and chickpeas, they aren't harvested until after the plant dies. Those plants are annuals, and they're harvested after the plant dies naturally. So yeah, there is no argument against veganism. So yeah, if you're against animal cruelty, you need to go vegan, and you need to go vegan now. Because you're literally very easily, in just one day alone, causing so much harm to so many different animals, even wild animals. Wild American horses are being rounded up by the thousands each year. The U.S. government, with our own tax dollars, rounds up thousands upon thousands of wild American horses every single year to benefit cattle ranchers. They remove these horses from public lands so that cattle can graze these public lands instead, so that cattle ranchers can maximize their profits. They take these horses, put them in government holding facilities, and then from there they are typically auctioned off. And it is mostly kill buyers who buy them cheap at auction. Then they ship them to Canada, ship them to Mexico, where it is legal for them to be slaughtered for horse meat. So yeah, it's not just the cows, pigs, and chickens and fish that you are killing. You're having wild animals killed too, intentionally. Yeah, they're intentionally killing wild American horses because they compete with livestock for grazing land. They're intentionally killing wolves and cougars and bears and bobcats and coyotes and lynxes and foxes because those animals are a threat to livestock. And even if you're consuming seafood, like if you're a pescatarian, you're literally helping to destroy the oceans and having animals like turtles and sea lions and seals and dolphins and whales killed in the process. Yeah, these animals are accidentally killed, but they're also being intentionally killed. They're being accidentally killed in these fishing nets, both when they, the fishermen drop those fishing nets into the oceans. Those fishing nets just pick up whatever's in the way. So if there's a turtle in the way, if there's a dolphin in the way, those animals are going to get caught up, and in a lot of cases, they end up dying. And these animals also get caught up in ghost fishing gear. Like 50% of the ocean plastics come from ghost fishing gear from the commercial fishing industry. And they're killing a lot of marine animals. But yeah, those videos that you see with the baby seals being bludgeoned to death? Most people automatically think, oh, the fur industry. Yeah, it's the fur industry killing those baby seals, but it's also fishermen. Fishermen need to, be held accountable too, because they play a role in killing marine mammals, because those animals, like the seals, eat fish. And they go and they bludgeon those baby seals too, and just let their bodies rot, because those animals are their competitors. They want all those fish for themselves to catch and kill, to sell to you for profit. So yeah, non-vegans are literally causing the 6th mass extinction. Animal agriculture, including the commercial fishing industry, literally contributing to the 6th mass extinction. Yeah, if you want to help save the planet, you need to go vegan, and you need to go vegan now. Researchers at Oxford, after doing an extensive study of over 40,000 farms, concluded that animal agriculture is so environmentally destructive, going vegan is the best way to save the planet, and that if the world went vegan, land totaling the size of Africa could be freed up, because that is how much land is needed to graze and grow food for all of the ceaseless tens of billions of animals that are being raised for their flesh and secretions. Well, the seals have to eat fish to survive. You don't. And in case you don't know, the average seafood consumer ingests 11,000 plastic particles per year on top of mercury, which can lead to brain damage. So yeah, you need to go vegan. You need to go vegan now unless you are pro animal abuse. You cannot claim to be against animal abuse if you're literally paying people to grind up little male chicks alive so you can eat eggs, to take little newborn calves off their mothers and slaughter them so you can consume their stolen baby food, to mutilate pigs and keep these mother pigs in these gestation crates. This is their life. They literally go insane in these gestation crates and in the farrowing crates that they spend most of their lives in. Just so you can spend 10 minutes feasting on the flesh of their babies. And yeah, most people don't know cattle are only 12 to 22 months old when they are slaughtered. They can live over 20 years, but they're just 1 year old when they are slaughtered. And as you can see from this animal's face, this animal's terrified. This animal does not want to die. This animal, if you saw the actual footage, because this is a screenshot of an undercover investigation at a slaughterhouse, and this calf is literally trying to escape. And he can't because he's in a knockbox and he can't escape. No, I do not believe in God, but good does absolutely exist. And unfortunately, evil does exist. I am vegan because I am against evil. So yeah, you should be vegan too. Unless you think, grinding up baby animals alive is a nice thing to do. Unless you think stealing babies off their mothers and killing them so you can consume their stolen baby food is a nice thing to do to someone. I mean, seriously, you need to really look into this. I don't want you to take my word for anything that I have said here tonight. I don't want you to take my word for anything. Just look into this further on your own. You can watch Dominion at dominionmovement.com for free. And it's very easy. Just look up dominionmovement.com. Right there, you just click on watch movie and you don't have to sign in or anything. Just click watch movie and it'll come right up for you. And, if you don't want to sit through the whole thing, watch the trailer. It's only 4 minutes long and it's a beautiful song that goes with that. Or just, skim through the actual movie. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, you can just, click on the little bar and just drag it to different portions of the movie, of the film. And, maybe then you'll understand why you need to go vegan, because this industry is so extremely brutal, brutal. And here in the United States, every single day they slaughter 30 million animals. Across the globe, it's about 200 million animals per day being slaughtered inside of slaughterhouses, and then hundreds of millions of animals being pulled from the oceans each day and slaughtered. For food, we don't even need to consume. A whole foods plant-based diet is the best diet. Literally can significantly reduce your risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, cerebrovascular disease. Like I said, just look into it. Don't take my word for it. Just look into it and you will see I am telling the truth. I am not even exaggerating about anything that I have said here tonight. And yeah, the very least you can do is just right here on TikTok in the search box, just put 2 words in the search box: vegan recipes. Put vegan recipes in the search box. And you will come across endless vegan recipes right here on TikTok. Scroll through some of them. Something looks good to you, click on it, give that creator a follow. And you will see how easy it is to be vegan, how delicious vegan food is if you just start trying some of these recipes. If you don't like to cook, go to happycow.net, put in your city. You will find vegan and vegan-friendly restaurants in any city. And the grocery stores are filled with vegan options. All fruits, vegetables, beans, grains, legumes, nuts, seeds are vegan. Most pasta is vegan. Most cereal is vegan. There's all kinds of plant-based burgers on the market, plant-based chicken, even plant-based seafood. There's plant-based cheeses, all kinds of different cheeses in a plant-based version, plant-based ice cream. Just about anything and everything comes in a vegan version. So you don't have to give up eating anything. Just choose the vegan version. I still eat pizza. I still eat lasagna. I still eat bacon. I still eat chicken, just in a plant-based version. That's actually better tasting even. Yeah, imagine that. The foods made with plants actually taste better than the foods made with rotting animal carcasses. And it's so much better for you. Plant-based diet is so much better for you. Just look at the studies that have been done. Look what is stated on the American Institute for Cancer Research's webpage, the National Kidney Foundation's webpage, the American Heart Association's webpage. Before I sign off, let me just pull that up for you. Because yeah, you probably won't look into it on your own. You'll just call me a liar. So let me prove it to you. This is on the Mayo Clinic's webpage. The Mayo Clinic. Researchers asked nearly 70,000 volunteers about their diets, then tracked them over time. They found lower cancer rates among people who didn't eat meat at all. In fact, vegans, those who don't eat any animal products, including fish, dairy, or eggs, appear to have the lowest rates of cancer of any diet. Yeah, cancer, one of the leading causes of death, and a plant-based diet helps prevent it. And this is what's stated on the American Institute for Cancer Research's webpage. No single food can protect you against cancer by itself, but research shows that a diet filled with a variety of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, and other plant foods helps lower risk for many cancers. In laboratory studies, many individual minerals, vitamins, and phytochemicals demonstrate anti-cancer effects. And the list of foods from the American Institute for Cancer Research that helps fight cancer, all plant foods. Fruits, vegetables, berries, beans, grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, even soy is on this list of foods that help fight cancer. And the soy that is used in the plant-based meat alternatives is the GMO-free soy. The genetically modified soy is the soy I would stay away from. And this is what's stated on the National Kidney Foundation's webpage. Eating more plant-based foods such as vegetables and grains in place of animal-based foods such as red meat may help prevent and slow the progression of chronic kidney disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. And this is what's stated on the American Heart Association's webpage. Whether you're considering eating less meat or giving it up entirely, the benefits are clear. Less risk of disease and improved health and well-being. Specifically, less meat decreases the risk of heart disease, stroke, obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, and many cancers. Yeah, so this isn't coming from me. This is coming from the American Heart Association. A plant-based diet is the best diet for human health. So, yeah, like, why would you pay people to chop the heads of animals off? When being a vegan is not just better for the animal's health, it's even better for your own health, and it's better for the health of the planet. Just doesn't make any sense to not be vegan. So yeah, give me a follow if you have any interest in going vegan. Give me a follow if you want to help animals. Vegans are simply people who refrain from harming animals. That's all veganism is. It's just abstaining from being involved in any kind of animal abuse, any kind of animal exploitation. You know, I'm not religious, but yeah, I believe that we should be living by the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And again, if the same things happening to these animals to produce animal products were happening to humans, they would in fact be crimes of rape, kidnapping, theft, and murder. And I'm not even exaggerating. No, I don't consume foods that are sprayed with pesticides. Yeah, look up veganic farmers. Look up organic farmers who use non-lethal methods of pest control. Yeah, I don't consume products that are sprayed with pesticides or any other kind of chemical. And I certainly do not consume GMOs. But yeah, the animals whose flesh and secretions you consume, they are being fed genetically modified corn and or genetically modified soy. Those crops are genetically modified so that they can be sprayed with Monsanto's Roundup. That kills off every non-GMO plant it comes into contact with. Those plants happen to be food sources for the bees and the butterflies. Yeah, so by not being vegan, you're literally destroying the planet. You're killing off the bees, killing off the butterflies, killing off all the other wild animals. Because millions upon millions of wild animals are intentionally killed every single year because they either compete with livestock for grazing land or because they are a threat to livestock. And then there are countless animals being killed as an acre of land is slashed and burned per second. And yeah, this land clearing is mainly to clear the land to graze cattle and to grow food for livestock and cattle, including cattle. Because yeah, most of the cattle being raised are actually on feedlots being fed grains. And it takes as much as 16 pounds of grains to get just 1 pound of beef. It takes as much as 6 pounds of grains to get just 1 pound of poultry. No, I'm not consuming pesticides. No, I'm not. And yeah, I do grow a lot of my own food. Not, not most of it, but I have papaya trees, mango trees, macadamia nut tree I even have. I probably have like 30 different varieties of edible plants. Star fruit, passion fruit, dragon fruit, bananas. Yeah, but at least I'm not paying people to molest animals and to, massacre their babies so that I could feast on their flesh. Yeah, so before I sign off, yeah. What is she even talking about? What is she even talking about? Yeah, this is the first step in producing all animal products. They literally masturbate male animals. They're not just doing this to boars in the pork industry. They're also doing this to bulls in the beef and dairy industries. They're also doing this to roosters in the poultry and egg industries. They're even doing this to salmon. They're even doing this to bees. True story. Just look it up if you think I'm talking crazy. There's all kinds of instructional videos put out there by the industries themselves demonstrating how they collect semen from the male animals and how they force the semen into the female animals to force them to reproduce. This is bestiality and it's sexual abuse. This is a human sexually stimulating an animal. That is in fact bestiality, and it is sexual abuse. And nobody should be funding it. But you are every time you consume a non-vegan product. Even eggs, even dairy, even honey. Yeah, people do care. Maybe you don't care, but other people do care. Thousands of people go vegan every day. And yeah, more and more vegan products are taking over store shelves. Yeah, so again, I don't want you to take my word for anything that I have said here tonight. Just look into this matter some more on your own, and you'll see that I am telling the truth. And if you look up, some of these undercover investigations of these farms where your food comes from, you're going to realize these animals are really being horrifically abused. And even for the 1 or 2% of animals that actually might be treated decently before they're slaughtered, the better those animals are treated, the more they want to live. And the greater the betrayal it is when they are robbed of their life. And treating someone nice before you kill and eat them, that is not humane. That is insane. That is psychotic. That would be like you eating your dog or eating your cat and being like, oh no, it's okay because I treated them really nice before I hacked their head off and gobbled them up. Yeah, and in case you don't know, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Sir Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, Socrates, Pythagoras, Plato, Plutarch, all abstained from eating animals because they knew it was immoral and unhealthy. And even Albert Einstein knew that it was not environmentally sustainable. Yeah, so let me leave you with that. A quote. Okay, this is a quote from Albert Einstein. Nothing will benefit human health and increase the chances for survival of life on Earth as the evolution to a vegetarian diet. And no dairy products do not come from vegetation, and no eggs do not come from vegetation. But the word vegan back in Einstein's day wasn't a common term. No, Genesis 1:29 on the very first page of the Bible proves that God designed us to be vegan if you believe in God. Romans 14:21, it is good not to eat flesh. Isaiah 11:6-9, the wolf will lay with the lamb and there will be no more harm. And the commandment, thou shalt not kill, there is no exceptions listed next to that commandment. Thou shalt not kill means be vegan. Thou shalt not steal means be vegan. And one more quote. This is from Nikola Tesla. It is certainly preferable to raise vegetables, and I think, therefore, that vegetarianism is a commendable departure from the established barbarous habit. That we can subsist on plant food and perform our work even to advantage is not a theory, but a well-demonstrated fact. Many races living almost exclusively on vegetables are of superior physique and strength. There is no doubt that some plant food, such as oatmeal, is more economical than meat and superior to it in regard to both mechanical and mental performance. In view of these facts, every effort should be made to stop the wanton and cruel slaughter of animals, which must be destructive to our morals. Thanks for the roses. So I guess on that note, I'm going to sign off. So again, just give me a follow if you have any interest in going vegan. give me a follow if you want to help animals. People do gift me money. Like I see, like I got like, I don't know, $200 in my account. I don't ask for money. But whatever money I do get, I'm going to donate that to animal sanctuaries and animal rescue groups. So just by following me, you'll be helping animals. But I have to get to 10,000 followers before I get banned or I lose that money, from what I understand. So I don't want to see that money just disappear. I would like to donate that money to some of these animal sanctuaries and animal rescue groups. The Animal Recovery Mission, they do amazing work for animals. Also, the Skylands Animal Sanctuary, just a few weeks ago, the owner of the Skylands Animal Sanctuary called up the slaughterhouse owner. You heard the story about the calf a few weeks back that escaped a slaughterhouse in New York. Yeah, the owner of the Skylands Animal Sanctuary contacted the owner of the slaughterhouse and convinced him to release that calf to his sanctuary and not send that calf back to the slaughterhouse. And eventually the slaughterhouse owner did agree to release the calf to the Skylands Animal Sanctuary. So yes, I would like to donate money to the Skylands Animal Sanctuary. So that'll be where at least part of the money that is in my account is going to go once I get to 10,000 followers. So so on that note, I'm going to sign off for the night, but I'll be back again tomorrow. Have a good night and go vegan. Stop abusing animals. If you pay the hitman, you are the murderer.